The door creaks from the moment I touch it. A slow, dragging sound, like breath caught in a metal throat. Like something inside knows I've arrived and is already smiling. People think the worst part of a night shift is the boredom. They're wrong. It's the silence. That heavy, watching silence that settles over the world when the sun goes down. The kind of silence that doesn't let you forget you're alone and might not stay alone for long. My name used to be Leo. And before everything went wrong, I was just another guy needing a paycheck. That's the only reason I agreed to work at Securaspace, a storage facility on the very edge of town, the kind of place where streetlights suddenly stop existing and the road feels like it's slipping out from under civilization's grip. On my first night there, the air felt wrong, stale, cold in a way cold shouldn't be. Like the building had been empty for too long, or never empty at all. Silas was the other night manager. Tall, thin, skin so pale it looked like wax that had started to melt. He moved without noise, no footsteps, no breath, nothing. Just the low hum of the fluorescence above us and the faint smell of something metallic that always seemed to follow him. He didn't talk unless he had to, and when he did, his voice was dry enough to sound like it came out of paper, not a throat. Behind the desk was a laminated sheet of rules. Old. Edges curling. Ink faded. Rule 1. Never open a tenant's unit. Rule 2. Follow the patrol route exactly, no deviations. Rule 3. Ignore any sounds coming from inside the units. Rule 4. Corridor C is restricted, only Silas enters. Rule 5. Never leave your partner alone, not even for a minute. I laughed a little the first time I read them. They didn't sound like company policy. They sounded like warnings etched above the entrance of a tomb. For the first few weeks, nothing dramatic happened. Just long hours with those flickering lights, the buzz of old cameras, the endless view of metal doors stretching into the dark. But the longer I stayed, the more I noticed that the building itself felt alive, breathing through its vents, dreaming through its pipes, studying through its cameras. And then the sounds started. At first, it was easy to blame the pipes. A click here, a groan there, metal expanding in the night. But one night, at 2:04 a.m., I heard tapping. Clear. Deliberate. Inside Unit 247. Tap, tap, tap. Pause. Tap, tap, tap. A pattern. A message. A request. I stood there, frozen, flashlight trembling in my hand. Then I leaned closer and the tapping stopped. Followed by a whisper, pressed right against the nuddle on the other side. I didn't run. I bolted, full sprint down the concrete hall, lungs burning, heart hammering. When I reached the office, Silas was sitting there, calm as stone. He didn't even raise his head. "Building's talkative tonight," he murmured. Like it was nothing. Like this was normal. I said nothing back. Couldn't. I barely made it through the rest of that shift. Because after that night, the sounds didn't stop. They multiplied. Scratching, crying, breathing, voices humming old songs I'd never heard before but somehow recognized. Then one night, the whisper called my name. I still hear it in my sleep. Leo. My blood went cold. My knees nearly buckled. There are few things in life as terrifying as hearing a stranger whisper your name from behind a locked steel door at 4 in the morning when you know no one is supposed to be there. I ran back to the office again, and again, Silas didn't look surprised. Some units learn faster than others, especially when someone listens too closely. That was the first time I wondered if Silas was warning me or judging me. From that night on, I watched him. Every movement, every patrol he took, every time he disappeared into Corridor C. The camera for that corridor was always out. A perfect static-filled screen. Convenient. Too convenient. And every time Silas returned from Corridor C, he came back weaker. Paler skin, shakier hands, eyes darker, like something behind them was eating through the last bits of him. He wasn't guarding something in that corridor, he was serving it. I knew it. I felt it. And eventually, I needed the truth more than I needed to stay safe. I waited for my moment. It came quietly, almost politely, on a Tuesday night. Delivery night. Silas went out to guide the supply truck in, and he, for the first time, left the keys on the edge of the desk. A dozen normal keys, and one that didn't belong in this century. Forged iron. Rough edges. Cold as a grave. I took it. Walked through the halls. And the further I went, the colder the building felt. Like each step pulled me out of the world and further into something's shadow. When I reached the forbidden corner, I hesitated. The whole way beyond it was glowing faint red. Faint, but pulsing. Corridor C felt wrong before I even stepped inside. The air carried a metallic taste. The lights flickered, not like bulbs going bad, but like something was breathing through the circuits. I turned the corner, and Corridor C greeted me. Red walls, metal doors with no handles, thick steel like prison cells, all scratched from the inside. Every unit groaning softly, like old things shifting in the dark. The last door on the right pulsed more violently than the rest, Unit 310. The one Silas always came out of, looking half dead. I put the iron key into the lock. It resisted, then turned with a deep, ancient sound as if opening something that shouldn't ever be opened again. The darkness inside swallowed my flashlight. I stepped in anyway. The smell hit first. Iron. Rot. Something sweet and sickening underneath. The walls were stone, not concrete. Porous, dark, stained, covered in desperate, clawed writing overlapping endlessly. He is not human. He feeds on fear. He hears your heart. The silence lies. The manager isn't a man. Arthur was here. Leo will be. You are next. A single chair sat in the center. Leather straps. old blood, metal restraints, and beside it a journal. Arthur's journal. The one who came before Silas, before me. I read. I shouldn't have. Every page felt like a confession written by someone already halfway dead. He wrote about the building, about its hunger, about how it needed a caretaker, a shepherd, someone to lead victims to the feeding chamber, to prepare them, to ripen their fear, and how the night manager was just the hollowed-out shell left behind after the building devoured someone. Arthur had chosen Silas. Silas was choosing me. I dropped the book, and that was the one the door slammed.
I've been trying to track the changes in myself. Not the big ones. Those are obvious. The cold hands, the long pauses between breaths, the way my reflection lags for half a second when I move. Now, it's the small changes that matter. The ones you only notice in the dead hours of the shift, when the building hums like a tired animal, and the lights dim just enough to show you something breathing behind the walls. I've started to hear things before they happen. Steps. Whispers. Clara's heartbeat whenever she walks past the third-floor landing. The building is teaching me how to listen, how to guide, how to harvest. It teaches slowly, the way a parasite teaches its host to stop fighting. Tonight, for the first time, Clara hesitated before starting her patrol. She stood at the map, finger tracing the path she's memorized, and her eyes kept drifting to the corner where Corridor C branches off. She doesn't know why she's drawn to it, but he does. The building nudges her, little things at first. A soft thud behind a locked unit, a whisper sliding along the vents, a distant knock hidden beneath the hum of the fluorescents. She pretends she doesn't hear them. All new managers pretend at first. But the building is patient. The hunger is patient. And patience always wins. Around 2 a.m., Clara came back to the office, pale and shaking. She didn't meet my eyes. "There's someone crying," she said. "Down on the first floor, in the long corridor. A woman." I remembered that one. The voice that cried every night for a month, trying every tone and register imaginable, until she finally understood I wasn't going to open the door. She never forgave me for that. Her sobbing still shifts into laughter sometimes. Clara heard the crying version, the safest version. I told her what Silas once told me. The building settles. Ignore it. But I saw it in her eyes. She didn't believe me. She didn't want to believe me. Fear starts as a question. Then it becomes curiosity. Then it becomes obsession. And the building loves obsession. It softens the mind, makes it easy to season. Later in the night, Clara dropped her flashlight. She said her hand slipped, but I know the truth. The floor moved. Just a little. Just enough to remind her she was walking on something alive. When she bent down to pick it up, the building exhaled. A long, deep breath that traveled through the vents and brushed your hair back like a hand. I watched it happen from the monitors. She froze. Her shoulders trembled. Her breath hitched, and the beam of her flashlight pointed, by sheer instinct, toward the very corner she isn't allowed to see yet. Corridor C. It calls her the same way it called me. A slow pull. A hungry pull. The building doesn't speak in words. It speaks through what you fear losing. Clara's fear tastes different from mine. Lighter, sharpened by loneliness, by uncertainty, by the quiet sense that she wasn't supposed to end up here. That flavor makes the hunger restless. And me, I feel it stirring under my skin, pacing, waiting for her fear to ripen. Around 3:40 a.m., Clara came back again. She stood in the doorway for a long time before stepping inside. Her eyes kept drifting to my hands, the hands that used to tremble, but now stay perfectly still. "Leo," she whispered, "when you walk the halls, do you ever feel like something's walking with you?" She didn't mean footsteps. She meant presence, pressure, the invisible gravity of something that wants you closer. I looked at her, and for a moment, something inside me shifted, almost like empathy, almost like a memory of being human. "Don't let it hear your heartbeat," I said. I don't know why I said it. Maybe Silas said it to me once. Maybe Arthur said it to him. Maybe the building likes the phrase. Clara swallowed hard. Her pulse fluttered at her neck. Bright, fearful, ripe. She didn't ask what I meant. She didn't want to know. But now she's listening for it. Every shift, every hallway, every moment where the silence presses too tight around her ribs. She's starting to understand that the building doesn't just want her to hear things. It wants her to respond. Tonight, something new happened. Clara reached into her back pocket and took out a small notebook, a cheap spiral-bound thing. She opened it, and I saw the page. She's been drawing the layout of the building, sketching the halls, the angles, the distance between the walls. She's mapping it, the way prey hunts the forest that hunts it. But the worst part? She circled the entrance to Corridor C, not in pencil, in black ink. As if she knows. As if she feels the pull, as if something already whispers to her the way it whispered to me. She asked quietly, "Leo, what's inside that corridor?" My mouth answered before I did. "Your replacement." She didn't understand. Not yet. But she will. The building is patient, but hunger isn't. And every night she grows a little quieter, a little paler, a little easier to lead. Soon she will take the keys. Not because she wants to break the rules, but because she won't believe in them anymore. And when she unlocks the door, when she steps into the dark, when she touches the stone and feels the first pulse waiting for her, she'll know the truth. Fear isn't the sacrifice. Fear is the invitation. And Clara has already RSVP'd.